streaking community. Today we're so excited to be with Abbey Cook, who is gracious enough to give us some of her time as a mom of her third child that she just recently had. So we're so grateful that you're here with us, Abbey. Abbey has three girls, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and then her baby that is just a little over 2 months old. Abbey is a client partner for Franklin Covey. She is a former math teacher who loves to cook with her children, with her daughters, and also is a local coffee aficionado. She's on a quest to try all the local coffees in her area in Indiana. Abbey, we're so glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So Abbey, can you tell us, how did you find streaking? Give us your streaking origin story.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a coworker of Jeff Downs, one of the ultimate streakers, I guess you could say, right? Which sounds really funny if you don't know what streaking is.
Right?
That's okay. That's okay. And I was just sharing with him that I was having a hard time taking my vitamins, and here in the Zoom world that we live in, I had my little container of vitamins, and we were on a call, and he had asked me like, "Hey, is everything okay? You're taking some pills." And I said, "No, well, yeah, everything is great. I take these vitamins. I have some health troubles, and I know that my body doesn't produce a certain number of these nutrients." And so he was like, "Hey, I've got a method for you." And I'm like, "Okay, tell me more," because I forget every day. Like, of the 20 something I'm supposed to take, I would be lucky if I remembered any of them. And he said, "Okay." And he walked me through this idea of streaking and keeping track and making it laughably simple, and to share with the community so that you can have encouragement and be built up. And I was like, "Okay, I'll give this a try, but I really just hate taking these vitamins." And he's like, "Well, give it a try, see what happens. What do you have to lose?" And I said, "Okay, yeah." Well, that was, let me get this right, how many days? That was 606 days ago.
606, nice.
606 days ago. And he helped me curate the first streak. And the idea was to make it laughably simple, because I have trouble swallowing pills. So I'm just terrible at taking medicine and taking vitamins. And he's like, "Well, take that 26 pills out of your mind. What if you could take like one pill 4 times a day? So like 4 pills a day." I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." And he's like, "Okay, we'll keep track. How many days in a row?" Well, the really cool part of this story is that about 150 days in, I went to my doctor, got labs drawn, and she's like, "What are you doing differently?" And I'm like, "Why do you ask?" And she said, "Your thyroid numbers, like, they're getting better. They're like better than I've ever seen. Anyone that's gone on thyroid medicine before, I can actually have your dose because you're taking your thyroid medicine." And she went on to explain to me that a lot of times doctors have to overdose, not in a bad way, but like for absorption, and knowing that you're going to miss some along the way. But I had religiously taken my thyroid medicine for 150 days, and it was correcting my body, and it was actually showing improvement. And she's like, in all of my years of practicing, I've maybe seen one other person come off their thyroid medicine. So I'm still on, instead of 4 a day, I take 2 a day now. And one day I hope to be completely off of the thyroid medicine, my thyroid working again. So it's kind of the starting point. But now 606 days in, we've had a baby, and I'm healthier, I'm stronger, I'm not experiencing some of the things I was, all because I'm keeping a streak. I didn't do anything. Yeah, I didn't do anything crazy different. My diet's still about the same, all of those things, but I'm just making sure that I do this one important thing a day. So that's the starting point of the streaking.
I love that. What do you think the difference was? Because this isn't like the first time you needed to take medicine. What do you think it was that helped to kind of help you remember to take your medicine, take those pills? What was the difference?
Well, I think that we all have good intent. I think we all like want to achieve, want to feel better, want to do those things, but life just gets in the way sometimes. And when you have accountability, people cheering you on, when you have, for me, I'm a former math teacher. So the numbers are also a driver for me, like
Yes,
being
yes.
able to say, okay, I've done this for a month in a row or for 30 days in a row. Okay, I've done this for 60 days in a row. And I remember early on, we were in Kentucky for the Junior Olympics. My daughter was running a cross country meet, and I forgot to pack my vitamins. I forgot. Yeah. And I'm like, this is going to be the end of this streak. And so I texted Jeff and I said, okay, random question. I think I'm about to break my streak. I forgot to pack my vitamins. And he quickly responded back, like, did your husband pack any vitamins? Is there a Walgreens close by?
Any? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, my husband packed his. He's like, are there any that match up to what you take? And he was just so encouraging of like, no, you don't have to break your streak. You don't have all 26, but your streak is only 4. So just find 4 vitamins that you need to take. And luckily my husband had like a vitamin D, like a multivitamin, and we made it work. And I was able to keep this streak alive. But, when else would you really care about that? Like if you were on vacation and forgot to pack your vitamins, oh, well, let's go to the beach, right? Like, let's forget about that. But the constant reminder and early on seeing such great results, it was important.
Yeah. Now, some people might call that obsessive, right? They might be like, well, you are in Kentucky and you can take a break and just start again the next day. Why do you think it was important that you didn't miss the day?
We could, right? Like there are streaks that we miss and we just start over the next day, and like knowing that you do have that grace, that's great. But for me, I look at my girls and I look at the importance of this streak specifically. I have broken other streaks and I can tell you more about those soon. But the idea that I want to be a healthy mom, wife, daughter, that is a very important streak. And the mindset of I'm going to keep going and persevering, I think because of, I'm only given one body, to steward and to take care of, because of the importance of the streak. I think that's why I was so bound and determined to find a way to keep that streak going.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I love that. Especially, our streaks should be like that, right? Like things that are important to us that we want to have be part of our life every day, no matter what, no matter whether I'm on vacation or whether things are crazy at my house. Like I want it to be a part of my everyday life. So I love that. Yeah. Abby, can you tell us more about some of your other streaks, your other streaks that you've set?
Sure. Yeah. One that's particularly fun, for me, probably not fun for other people, but, during the pandemic, I realized I'm a salesperson. So usually I was, before the pandemic, on the road, and I would be out in public and I would be with other people. But when we were basically in lockdown for several weeks, months, I realized that I didn't feel at peace in my home, which is a crazy thing to say. Like, I would escape it prior to the pandemic by going to client calls or going here or there. And I would come home and it was just this place I landed on. But I realized during the pandemic that I didn't feel at peace in my home. I was actually anxious, or like I would look at the clutter and I would say, oh my gosh, like I just want to get rid of everything. And so I started a streak of I will remove at least one item daily from my home.
Yes.
And I had this idea that I want to live in a lived in house, right? Like I have 3 little girls. Like it's going to be like, it's going to be messy. However,
right.
it could be less messy if we get rid of the things we don't need. And so I started this practice, and it could be throwing a piece of junk mail away. It could be donating a toy. It could be pulling out the clothes that don't fit anymore and taking them to the Salvation Army or Goodwill. It could be anything, but we were going to remove one item from our home daily. And so that became one item. And then I'd start focusing on the one item. And before you know it, I'd have 20 items to give away that day. And so, we've got a long ways to go on this streak.
We always do, though, right? Because stuff keeps coming in, right? So you have to keep on top of it to keep it out.
Yeah. It had also encouraged me to find other people that were feeling the same thing I was feeling. And so it led me on this track to find an author who writes about this. It also, I'm in her Facebook community now, and like just putting some extra focus on this thing that I know was just bothering me. So yeah, that one's another fun streak that
How many days is that one?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
Streaking app.
Abby's pulling up the streaking app, everybody, where you can keep track.
Yes. So it is 332 days long.
Nice. Almost a year.
Almost a year. Yep. That one's a really a fun one.
I think that would be fun too. I agree with you because I feel it. Like when you look around and you're like, why do we have all this extra stuff?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Stuff we don't need. And it came from watching the minimalist documentary on Netflix. So they talk about this need to live with less. And so that's where it came from. So
that's great. Do you have any other favorites?
I like, so also early in the pandemic, and just when my husband and I both work, we realized we were spending a tremendous amount of money on going out to eat. So I love going out to eat. It's great. Like they serve you, they take the food away. They most importantly wash the dishes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I enjoy that a lot, but I was looking at like $70 and $60 and $55. And I was like, man, is this wise of us? So we started a streak that we will eat dinner at home at least 5 times weekly. And so that one's a little bit more of not laughably simple, because you have to really think through that ahead of time. But I created the streak that way because what if we need grace that week and we just need to go pick up the food and bring it home? So the streak still allows us to get takeout or whatever. But when we bring the food home, we're saving like $10 on drinks and a tip and, that kind of thing. So we're still saving. So we want to be a financially responsible family. And that's one of our other practical streaks. So
I love how you worked that to give yourself grace and make it work for you, but still be achieving what you wanted to achieve. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Abby, is there anyone else in your family who streaks? Any of your girls, your husband?
Yeah. So actually, now that you said my husband, he has a longer streak than I do. Actually, he was streaking before he knew he was streaking.
Don't you love it when you figure that out? You're like, oh, I've been doing this already before.
Yeah. So he has over 1,000 days of streaking, reading at least one Bible verse daily. So he has the app, the Bible app, and he just opens it up and it's part of his morning routine. He reads a Bible verse and then closes it. And that's one of his streaks. He's got the longest streak in the family. Awesome. Last I knew, it was like 1,035 days or something like that. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. And then our 2 oldest girls, they have streaks that kind of come and go. So their streaks aren't necessarily all the time streaks. Like for instance, our youngest did a streak of multiplication facts for a while, just practice at least one fact daily. and school's out for the summer, so she kind of retired that streak. So that's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Yeah.
And then Nora takes homeopathy remedies for aches and pains. And she's been starting to streak. Did I take my 2 pellets daily? And that's been helpful for her to remember it and to also get some relief for her ankles.
That's great. What are some of the ways that your kids are keeping track of their streaks? Do they like the app? Do they use calendar or sheet or?
Yeah, so they don't have devices. We have like a family iPod that they can use, but Nora keeps a checkoff list on the refrigerator, so she just checks it each day. Lorelai also is a runner, so she has a streak in the summer to do 80 miles before school starts, and so she keeps track of it on the refrigerator as well. Like we downloaded a printable, and she just colors in the bubble when she runs a mile. So
that's nice. I like that. Yeah, I've noticed streaking is great for kids, but we tweak it, right, so that it works for them. And because I'm sure the thought of I'm going to do this forever is like, right? It's a little mind-boggling. And so to have almost seasonal streaks, I like that a lot.
Yeah. The baby doesn't have any streaks yet that she knows of, but she'll one day have one too.
Sleeping. We want the baby to have a sleeping streak, please.
Well, I guess you could say she does have a streak then. So she has been 2 weeks on sleeping at least 6 hours a night. So
nice.
We'll take it, right?
Right? Yes, we will. That's great. Abby, do you have any benefits that you've seen besides the benefit that comes specifically from your streak, like better health from taking your medicine and your vitamins? Have you noticed any other like side benefits that come just from the fact of streaking?
Well, I mean, I definitely am appreciative of the community of people. I think that in a virtual world and in a big world, to be able to have like-minded people who are putting some focus on a certain part of their life is pretty cool. And then also I would say just the consistency, like teaching our children consistency and how doing something little each day makes a really big impact. That's been really cool to share and to show. I mean, the health benefit has been the biggest for me.
For sure.
So, yeah.
For sure. I like this. It's almost rebellious because so the message we often get pushed is don't make small dreams, always have big plans, go big or go home, right? And so the fact that we can show ourselves and our families doing something small, but doing it consistently and consecutively makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's so opposite of what we're told, that it almost feels rebellious, right? Be a rebel, start a streak.
Do little things.
Yeah.
Not asking you to move a mountain today. We're just asking you to start chipping away at it.
Right? That's right. Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, all those things.
Yeah.
For sure. So Abby, if somebody came to you and was like, all right, I want to start a streak, what advice would you give them?
Oh, this is good. This is even if I could have told Abby of 606 days ago or whatever.
Right.
Don't set too many streaks. Like I had a friend reach out and say, hey, I heard you're streaking. These are my first 4 that I want to start with. And what do you think? And I said, these are great streaks. Please only start with 1 though. Get to 100 days, add the next one. I'm not saying you can't do those other things. Those other things are great. The number one pushback I get when I explain this to people is they're like, oh, well, I need to do this and this and this and this. Yeah, those are all great things, but streak one of them to start with and then add it on, because you're saying, I'm going to do this without ceasing, right? I'm going to do this. And don't put 5 or 6 of them first and then, start little. and then add on once you're in a rhythm. I know that these things don't become habits. I think that's the one misconception is the word habit. It's very trendy right now. But what I like to think of is they become rhythms in my day, right? Like,
I like that.
Yeah, they become a rhythm. So wait till you've got one rhythm before you add another.
Oh, that's a good way to put that, because you're right. There's a lot of pushback on it. Again, like we were talking about, we have this culture of go big and do it all. And some people are like, oh, streaking is great and it'll work for me, so I'll do 10, right? I'll start right away. And then you miss I love that you said that there's a rhythm to streaking. And so you've got to start with one rhythm, and then as you add more, and as you keep those promises to yourself, then your confidence grows and your ability to keep and add more streaks also grows. But yeah, you've got to start with one, maybe two.
Yeah, I could see the argument for two, because like a personal and a work streak maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think there's something to be said about mastering that first one.
For sure.
Yeah. And then if someone were to tell me that I've already got 3 consistently down and I'm going to add 2, I don't think I would be as nervous for them as if it was that first one.
Yeah. It's important. It's interesting too, because I think we also want to be able to like jump, or we want to skip ahead, or we want to do, I'm going to do my streak 5 times today, and somehow that's going to get me ahead. But really with streaking, you can just do it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And there's almost a beauty in that too, to recognize, like, to not try and rush it, to be in the moment and enjoy where you are right then, kind of a focus on the journey instead of a skip to the end, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
Okay, Abby, before we close, any final words, anything that you would like to share with our streaking community?
I think that my biggest takeaway would be just to start one. Like, that was my hesitation in the very beginning, is overthinking of what my first streak was.
Yeah.
You don't have to overthink it. You know what's important in your life. And, chances are good that if you've got 5 to choose from, they're all important. You're going to get to the other 4 at some time. So just start.
Just start with one. That's great. Or like your husband even recognizing, oh, here's something I'm already doing, and now I'm going to turn it into a streak, have it be more intentional for me. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time, Abby.
Thank you. It was great chatting today. And I would be happy to talk to anyone about streaking. So
that's awesome.
It is something that can truly change your life.
So you can reach out to Abby. You can follow Abby on the Streaking app. Are you just Abbey Cook on the Streaking app?
I think so. Yeah. Sweet. Abbey with an E, Abbey. Abbey
with an E, Abbey Cook on the Streaking app. Follow Abby, and we're so glad to have heard from you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.